If you believe he should be in the Hall of Fame, there's, let's let him wait another 2 years. Wait, he's already dead at this point. Like, what are you waiting for? Another 2 to 3 years. He's either in or he's out. And sometimes you look at that too, Tom. It's like you can't tell, the history of Major League Baseball without Pete Rose.
Frankly, the writers have some standard that they want to hold players to, which seems to fluctuate on a player-to-player basis. So he should be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not sure how quickly he'll get there.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Your college performance does not relate to the National Football League. It never does.
They played side by side with each other, and he wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. That's an issue. That's a major issue.
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers.
Ever got to Texas?
It wasn't that it wasn't as good as Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn Ewers' program, which Steve Sarkisian made very clear the entirety of the time that Arch Manning was in Austin. So for you to argue that because Ewers is a 7th-round pick, Arch Manning is not that good and not deserving of being first overall is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect.
I told you he's going to be number 1 overall. My whole thing was I'm buying him.
You're doing your thing now where you double down on a take
that is incorrect. The best quarterback prospect to ever hit college football can't play.
He's not so. There were 2 perfectly rated quarterback recruits in the history of the sport.
Quinn Ewers couldn't even play at Ohio State. He couldn't even play at Ohio State.
Quinn Ewers. Go look it up.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
What's up, everyone? In-game live game day here on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, and you know what? Over the course of the next couple hours with guests and us, we're going to try and prove it, make you some money along the way, and it's going to be a lot of fun, too, because you have Major League Baseball in action. Plenty of games still coming up tonight. The WNBA games are going right now, and we are moments from puck drop in the first game, Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals between Florida and Carolina. Carolina, of course, the hosts in this game against the defending champions. And in about a half hour, we will get Game 1, Western Conference in the NBA, the heavily favored Oklahoma City Thunder against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Should be a lot of fun. I am Adam Kaufman. Dane Martinez is here. It's the two of us, just like last night. If you had fun last night, Dane, like we told people, tonight promises to be even better because we got these playoff games to sweat. How's it going?
We're doing good. I mean, last night, hopefully people were with us. We were all over Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, hit with the Reds, hit with the over. We told you to hold like William Wallace in the Battle of York when the horses were charging at you and still go with the Philadelphia Phillies. That worked out pretty well. And we got more to talk about today, right? You definitely got Major League Baseball, but Game 1 of the Eastern Conference in the NHL Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals in the NBA. So plenty to talk about, and maybe we'll build off of some of the conversations we had last night. I'm excited, Adam.
Without a doubt. Should be a lot of fun. But let's start with the hockey game because, of course, that one is beginning momentarily here. Florida, as we know, it was an exciting 7-game series win against the Toronto Maple Leafs, winning that final clinching game in a blowout 6-1 north of the border. Even still, a team that, as I mentioned before, won the Cup last year, in the Stanley Cup final, each of the last 2. Most people that you talk to are pro Hurricanes here in this series. How do you see it?
Yeah, so I like to listen to all of the smart people here on the grid, like Cam, like George, and I agree that I actually think Florida might be the better team. They are the defending champions, but the way I want to look at it, especially because we are here live, Adam, is looking at the total here in Game 1. It seems like most people think the Western Conference Finals are going to be higher scoring than the Eastern Conference, as evidenced by the 6.5 totals in the Western Conference game, the 5.5 totals in the Eastern Conference game. But I know that these totals drop a ton early on in periods. So what I am trying to do, I think, is I'm hoping for a scoreless first period. I'm hoping we get it to fall to 4.5, fall to 3.5, something like that. And then if there's an opportunity for us to live go over the total, that's what I am looking for, because I still believe here, Adam, and I'd love to get your thoughts. I think the book still on some level undervalues the empty net goals that happened late in these playoff games. Now, it used to be that teams wouldn't pull their goaltender until like a minute left. Now, we're seeing teams pull their goaltenders, especially in these kind of playoff scenarios with 3-4 minutes left, and kind of just, it doesn't matter anymore, right? Like if they're going to lose by 1, they don't care if they lose by 3 and give up multiple empty net goals. I really think that plays to the live overs. So that's the blueprint of what I am looking for. I am hoping for a nip and tuck kind of physical, low scoring game early that we get an opportunity to hop over live here.
As you said, 5.5 the total. I was just looking at some splits on, every book's a little bit different, obviously. There aren't these universal splits for everyone, but I just happen to be looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook splits, and it's essentially just that, even. When it comes to the total and people betting the over and the under, just to pull it up in front of me here, 5.5, the over, 45% of the handle, 52% of the bets. On the other side, the under, obviously, 55% of the handle. The money is about 48%. So people, whether it's the public, whether it's sharp money, the mixture, obviously, because it involves everybody, people don't really know what to do with the total in this one. And so you start to think back maybe to some trends a little bit. In this most recent series between Florida and Toronto, as mentioned, it went to full 7 games. We saw totals of 9, 7, 9, 2, 7, 2, 7. Generally speaking, smashing the over. But Carolina, that series against Washington in the previous round was really not the case. Went the other way. 3, 4, 4, 7, 4. So that's only one over and a whole lot of unders in that gentleman's sweep of the Capitals. And I would be inclined to say that it's going to look a little bit more like that series. Like I know we were talking about a little bit with our buddy George Kurtz. I tend to see it the same way. I would go unders in the Eastern Conference, overs in the Western Conference, just in terms of my initial thinking about how these series are going to play out. I'm not saying invest in it, for every game or what you're going to get for an average in the series necessarily. Take it game by game and see how the goalies do, see if there are injuries. A whole bunch of factors can play into your handicap, obviously, but at least for this first game one, I do think we get a tighter game. And I like what you said about waiting it out. Let's see if we get a scoreless first period. Let's see if we're scoreless maybe going into, 6-7 minutes into the second period, and we get that total down to about 3.5 at that point in time, and who knows, maybe it's even 2.5, but heavily juiced to the over, even or even 3.5, but it might be around plus money to the over. I would still at that point look to maybe go over. But if I'm gonna do that, and we had a lot of conversation about this last night, middling, hedging, all of that, I think the way I would want to play it is initial pregame under, hope for everything that we just talked about, and then go over in game and look for that maybe 3, 4, 5 goal middle in that situation and see if I could win both bets.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Listen, I don't disagree with you, Adam, in terms of the pre-game play being the under, because I do believe this is going to be a more physical, this is going to be a more tighter series than what we see out west, right? I'm just hoping, and I think 3.5 would be the line for me, okay? Although, if we get 4.5, a 2-2 tie means we are home. Right. So I'm not mad at that either, but I do want to see if we can get it to drop. And also a thing that I believe, I feel the same way, Adam, for example, back in March Madness, right? In the first round, I bet all the first half under. I believe that there is kind of a feeling out process that happens at the start of this, and then it kind of gradually may open up as we get deeper into the game. So I think the chance for this blueprint that I outlined is definitely there. Pre-game under, I am with you, but if we can get something touching 3.5 sometime in the second period, that's when we can go over, in my opinion. One thing I know, our guy Matty George in the background may be giving us the goal horn every single time a puck goes in the net, and maybe we'll get the updates that way. Maybe he should also give us a horn if the live total touches 3.5.
And Matt, don't hesitate. Step on us. I don't care if we're mid-sentence. I don't care if a guest is mid-sentence. Abuse us with the goal horn if we're getting scoring. We're down to the Final Four, man. It's the Eastern Conference Finals, Stanley Cup playoffs. Let's love it. In the regular season, just if people are curious, and take this with a grain of salt, 2 meetings happened all the way back in November. That was early in the year. But Florida, a 6-3 win against Carolina, so smashed the over, obviously. A 6-0 win against the Panthers or loss, pardon me. Both of those were losses. Florida, a 6-3 win. Florida, the 6-3 wins, and Florida 6-0 win, and then a 3-1 win for Carolina. That game happened in January to begin the new year, and then let's see, I think that was it, just the 3 meetings. It was. So that's, something to think about, obviously, in terms of your handicap, if you want to go that far back. So we've been heavy hockey to start things out. That game is going to drop the puck here shortly. And of course, the basketball game, Oklahoma City Thunder and Minnesota Timberwolves, Game 1 Western Conference Finals, rapidly approaching as well. We'll give you our thoughts on that one when we come on back. IGL Game Day here on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
IGL Game Day here on SportsGrid. Florida, Carolina, underway. Game 1 Eastern Conference Finals. We'll tell you if anything big happens. We got that goal horn on the ready for you. Let's go to the NBA, though, because OKC and Minnesota, they're going to get started later on this hour. Game 1 of their Western Conference Finals series in the NBA. Dane, these teams, they split 2-2 in the regular season. OKC 68 wins overall. As we know, there are a lot of people, including me, hand up, that believe OKC is really not going to have trouble in this series Thunder in 5, maybe even 6. SGA, the MVP, or at least he will be, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 37, 39, and 40 in 3 of the 4 games against the Timberwolves during the regular season. He went off in the final 3 games of the series against the Denver Nuggets as well. He's clearly the focal point of the offense. Nobody would argue that, despite the depth on the Thunder side. Do we get a huge SGA game to begin this series specifically, or do you more look toward Anthony Edwards on the other side?
I mean, I think they're both going to show up. I think both of these guys are kind of in the running for the next face of the league. And quite frankly, I think both of them will have 30-plus point outputs tonight. I actually think that this series and this game is going to be decided by the kind of second and third kind of people. Will Naz Reid continue to deliver? Will guys like Chet Holmgren deliver? I think that's where it's going to be won, because honestly, I think Ant-Man and SGA will both, in essence, do what we project them to do. I think they will both show up and show out. One thing I'd say is this is where we differ, right? We see a lot of things the same way, Adam, but I know you believe the Thunder are kind of going to roll. I think Minnesota is not only going to make this a series, but I think they are going to steal a game at Paycom somewhere along the way in this series. I like the Wolves here. It was plus 7.5. It has fallen down to 7 on the number. I actually also believe in the idea of the rest that Minnesota has gotten. They closed out their series a little bit earlier. OKC obviously had to go to 7 games against Denver. There's the kind of always the rest versus rust question that is out there. I think Minnesota's defense is good enough to stay with Oklahoma City. I think they have guys like Nickeil Alexander and others who can play defense a little bit better than what we saw out of the Denver Nuggets. I think they're going to keep this as a close series. I think game 1 is going to be a close game. And here's the other thing. And even though, Adam, I know you like OKC, in this scenario, when we're here betting it live, I think the first bet to make has to be taking the points, right? Because we were talking about how the NBA is inherently a game of runs. Unless you think the Thunder are literally going wire to wire in this one, right? There will be some point in time, if you got the Wolves plus 7.5, where there'll be another option to go ahead and start to try to play and get that middle. I expect there to be at least some point in time where Minnesota is up by 6 in this game, and then you've got an option to play around a little bit. So the initial tent pole that I say has to be, in my opinion, Wolves plus the 7.5.
All right, you mentioned the rest versus rust conversation, so let's just give people the details. Obviously, the Thunder, they played on Sunday, only a couple of days ago at this point in time, and it was a blowout, emphatic win, 32 points against the Nuggets. It was at home, didn't have to go anywhere. As you said, the Timberwolves, they've been off for a while, almost a week, played Wednesday of last week in closing out Golden State, but did have to travel to OKC. So that plays into their preparation just a little bit. So, it's just something to consider. That line, as far as the points, it fluctuates depending on where you look. I got a whole bunch of the odds board up in front of me. There's still a rogue 7.5 out there on ESPN Bet if you want to invest in Minnesota, and certainly I wouldn't blame people for doing so. There's a lot of flat 7s, and then on MGM you have a 6.5, which obviously is where you would want to go if you, like me, want to lay it with the Thunder, as I did, and I've got OKC money line as part of multiple parlays. I am a Thunder believer clearly in this game tonight, but if you wanted to jump into the derivative market, let's say, I know you like Minnesota full game, but is there a point in time, and maybe the answer is still Minnesota, but is there a point in time that, okay, first quarter or first half, that type of thing, where you might be, I don't know, like that even better, be it Minnesota or OKC versus full game? Maybe you think that Minnesota gets off to a hot start, take them with the points in quarter number 1, or they hang around for the first half and then OKC, knocks off the rust, blows them out in the second half. So you could look at it as one of those Minnesota points first half parlayed with OKC points in the full game and get yourself a nice plus money situation there. How do you read it in that way?
That would be the arc, okay? That would be the arc. If I'm going to buy into the rest versus Russ scenario that we talked about, right? It would be Minnesota hanging or even getting out to an early lead early in this game, right? So Minnesota first half, Minnesota first quarter would be the way. And then maybe if it is going to be OKC, I could see them in the second half coming back like we have seen so many times, right? And they do have that home crowd in front of them, to be sure. So if I was going to play it that way, yes, it would be Minnesota first quarter, Minnesota first half. But I actually think Minnesota is going to hang around the entire game. That's why I already got them plus the 7.5 earlier today. And to be honest, most of the books, to your point, it has been moving, right? The number has been falling. It was 7.5 everywhere. Now you're saying there's one place that's even down to 6.5. So it looks like the money has been coming in on the Wolves. So let's see what happens. I am hoping to wind up getting a middle and keep on playing it back and forth because inherently, Adam, it is a game of runs. But give me Minnesota plus the 7.5, and I do think they're going to get out to an early start tonight.
2.5 point spread first quarter, 4.5 point spread in the opening half. And then, as mentioned, anywhere between 6.5 to 7.5 for the full game. Obviously, we've given you our, but invest as you wish. When it comes to player props, you know, we could talk SGA more. We could talk Anthony Edwards more, but you brought up an interesting guy who a lot of people are on tonight as far as overs, be it points, three-pointers, points, rebounds, combo. There are a lot of different ways to attack him. That's Naz Reid. Is he an X factor for you in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, he's a big man who can shoot from outside. Even like the Naz Reid 3 prop, I think is interesting. I think stringing together a lot of these 3 props are interesting. Adam, I know you like to do the conservative alts, right? Put a lot of these guys with 1 or 2 threes together, and that can make hay as well. I think we're going to see a lot of shooting from the outside tonight.
Listen, I just hope we're all making money tonight. Come on back, more basketball. Jeff Dawson joins us next.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's in-game live game day on SportsGrid with Dane Martinez. I am Adam Kaufman. We welcome in our first guest of the program, our pal Jeff Dawson. You know him, of course, from East Coast Sports Investors. He's on Twitter at EC Sports Invest, here to help us break down multiple sports, including, of course, this big basketball game on the way. Dawson, how are you, pal?
I think we're doing a lot better than Walker Buehler and Alex Cora right now. Kind of a tough projection there, but, we're doing well. Thanks for having me on.
He got off to that hot start, Bueller, too. I saw people celebrating the under 4.5 K hit after he got tossed in the third inning, whatever it was, because I think he, just survived by the hook, finished with 4. Let's get to this basketball game. Game 1, Western Conference Finals, OKC and Minnesota. And, of course, we were just talking about the spread fluctuating between 6.5, 7.5, depending on where you do your shopping. The total in this game, meanwhile, is mostly consistent, 219, 219.5. What's your read on Game 1?
Well, Game 1's usually the one where the dog is the most live. Here you got 7-game series OKC against Denver. Now they're hosting. Shorter rest. Minnesota's been sitting, waiting. The thing that really caught my eye here was the overnight under-over of 213.5, and all day it's just been going up, up, and up. We're at 219.5. So instead of taking the T-Wolves plus the 6.5, 7, or 7.5, what we did is we get a little cute here. We got their team total over the 105.5 here. So we don't need them to cover. We need them to stay close. I think this is a game, if Minnesota's going to steal one, it will be this one. And for them to do that, they're going to have to score at least 106 or more.
Hey, Jeff, let me zoom out a little bit here. Also, Adam and I kind of differ on this series. Adam thinks Thunder could roll here. I think Minnesota is going to make this a real series, that it could go 6 or 7. What do you think overall on this series? I believe they did split 4 regular season matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the OKC last year was the team, and then in came Dallas, second round, kind of Luka and Kyrie stole the show there. So they're battle-tested, and here they are after the tough series with Denver. T-Wolves are cruising. A lot of people thought maybe OKC would be facing the Lakers or maybe Steph Curry and the Warriors. Here comes Ant and the T-Wolves here. I don't think it's going to be a runaway freight train. I've heard a lot of people like OKC in 5 here. I think it will go 6. I have OKC in 6, which means obviously they're going to have to win in Minnesota in that game 6 here. But I look for a very competitive series. Would not be shocked for a split in the first 2 series, the first 2 home away from homes here, go to 2-2, back to OKC, and they win the next 2 there. But I like a very competitive series here.
With Game 1 specifically, as Dane outlined, we're kind of on opposite sides here. I would lay it. I have laid it, as a matter of fact, with the Thunder, and he's taken the points with the Timberwolves. So he is a believer that we're going to get a closer game than I ultimately think we're going to see. Given the whole rest versus rust, or just the Game 1 of it all, is this the game, based on what you were just saying? Is this the one that you think Minnesota is live to steal, in that you think we're going to get a close one as well?
I think this is the game to steal. Now, OKC, when they win, they generally win very comfortably. It's their defense. They can run you out of the gym in the first half. We've had a lot of great success early in the playoffs with them in the first halves here. But I think coming off that 7-game series here, and now Minnesota rested, I think Minnesota and Ant will have a chance to try to take the crowd away. So the first half is key to them, and obviously the first quarter as well. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Minnesota leading at the half here, and then OKC regroups. But I think this is the game right here that Minnesota could definitely steal.
And I know we only got about a minute until the break. Let's go over to the ice here, where it sounds like you like Carolina over there in the Eastern Conference Finals. It is 0-0. I have been hoping that we get a nip and tuck kind of game and maybe can go over a live total. What do you expect here in Game 1 on ice?
First 1-3 wins this one. Carolina desperately needs this one. Like the Toronto series with Florida, they held home ice the first 2 games. It still wasn't enough, as Florida took care of business there in 7. I like the Canes here. Both team totals are real high, juiced over 2.5. I just played the Canes minus the 121. Let's get home ice. Let's hold on to it and see what happens.
This game is still scoreless. Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals, Carolina playing host to Florida. About 8 or so minutes in. That total, 5.5 has dropped to 4.5. So heavily juiced to the over, almost minus 2 to 1.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Where's that goal horn? Let's get that goal horn for the people. There it is. That's right. Florida, the defending champs, are on the board. Can people even hear me over that thing? The Panthers up 1-0 power play goal in Carolina, almost 9 minutes into the opening period, and scored by Carter Verhaeghe, and may have been unassisted, waiting to see. No, Barkov and Tkachuk, Matt Tkachuk, got on the board. So that's, points all around, obviously. Hopefully you didn't play unders on those guys. I did actually play an under on Verhaeghe, so whoops, that's dead. But Florida up 1-0 here, almost midway through the opening period. We'll talk more hockey as we move along. Jeff Dawson here with us, East Coast sports investors. Let's get into a little baseball because we got some games, including some heavy favorites, that are getting underway here, Jeff, in just a little bit here. And looking at the FanDuel odds, so Philadelphia will be in Colorado, minus 275 after the huge, exciting comeback win last night, obviously there in Colorado. Seattle at the top of the hour after a delay in Chicago against the White Sox, minus 180 favorites. I begin with those two in particular, and I'll let, Dane get into more detail with Philadelphia. But broad strokes, there are a lot of people out there, maybe even in the form of moneyline parlays, that just want to attack the worst teams in baseball. So for that reason alone, do we invest in Philadelphia and Seattle tonight?
Last night, we had Philly team total over 6.5. Thank you, Kyle Schwarber, for the homer in the ninth, and they did score 2 more to get to 9. We had plus money on that to get the touchdown and extra point. Vegas got a little sharper today, and it's over 6.5, minus 135. I would attack if you wanted to dive into Philly today. I'd follow it because starting pitching is obviously a problem in Colorado, and their middle relief, their bridges, their closers even worse. So I'd take another bite at the apple with Philly team total over the 6.5 tonight.
I like that, Jeff. We also got a piece of the Philadelphia Phillies last night live when somehow they were down 2-0 to Colorado. We were giving that out there. If you see something, say something. That's why we're here on In Game Live. You're talking about the Phillies offense. I'm going to go with the starting pitcher for Philadelphia tonight. I like Jesus Luzardo over the 5.5 strikeouts. Listen, he's got 57 strikeouts and 54 innings pitched so far this season, so over a strikeout per inning. And you got to love the matchup against Colorado. Colorado strikes out literally 27% of the time. That is the second highest rate in Major League Baseball. So plenty of ways to play the Phillies. I want to ask you about another team total, though, Jeff, you have on the board. And it looks like you're on the Athletics tonight to score some runs against the Angels. I want to ask you a two-part question about that. Is it just that you believe in kind of this offense that a lot of people haven't realized have been hitting the ball really well? And how much of it is the ballpark factor? I really think in Sacramento, we are starting to see a lot of overs here as the A's, are kind of in limbo until they get to Vegas in a few years. Tell me why you like the Athletics over their team total.
My eyes were on them yesterday. I left that on the desk. Here come the Angels, who had just swept the Dodgers in LA over the weekend. They come as dogs last night and they win 4-3. And I'm looking at the numbers overnight, and I looked at them this morning, and I just couldn't believe my eyes here. Here's an Athletics team overnight that was minus 140, now minus 165. 10.5 across most of the board for an under-over, and 11 in some shops. Their team total this morning was 5.5 juice to the under. We got some plus money there. Now I'm seeing 5.5 to the over, probably around minus 115, 118. This is staring me in the eyes that they're getting a touchdown today and they're going to win this game. I like them first 5 minus the hook at plus 105. And I like them to get to 5.5 or better today. Well, obviously 6 or better. And cash, I think the A's stop the Angels' 4-game winning streak here. And I see them, 6 or 7. Maybe this looks like a 7-3, 7-2 type game.
So hugging that total, maybe even going under the 10.5. I want to take us 90 minutes into the future and look at this Dodgers-Diamondbacks game. Listen, I've lost a lot of money on the Dodgers over the course of the last week, and they're riding this skid right here. But I feel like this is the night. And not because they're minus 240 favorites specifically, because, again, that was a letdown time after time over the weekend. You can't just lean into that. But I would want to, Jeff, lean into the pitching matchup. Yamamoto against Nelson. I trust Yamamoto to be a stopper here in this spot, and the Dodgers at home to get the win. I would even, I don't want to lay the minus 240. Again, money line parlay situation if you want to put them with teams that you like. But I'm comfortable with the Dodgers run line in this one, and that is a much more palatable minus 120.
I got even cuter here. Now, this is a team that's lost 4 straight at home. 3 to the Angels, 1 to the Diamondbacks. Here comes Yamamoto, the stopper here. Look for a focused Dodgers team to stop the bleeding. Hopefully a 1-2-3 or let's say a 0 from the Diamondbacks, who can score with anyone here. We took the Dodgers minus a half run in the first 5, and we laid the 35 cents. I like the pitching matchup here. I like the edge to Yamamoto. Need the Dodger bats to put up a crooked number, hopefully in the first inning. Maybe a, let's say, Ohtani, Freeman, Mookie Betts, someone to get a 2-3 run homer here to, stop the bleeding. But I definitely like the Dodgers minus the hook, first 5 here against the Diamondbacks.
Hey, Jeff, I always say we're not just giving you a fish, we're teaching you how to fish here on the grid, right? So I like that you're doing the first 5, right? And you're all referencing Yamamoto. Talk to me. Is that kind of something you do commonly when you really do like the pitching matchup? In this case, Yamamoto. Will you lean towards the first 5 and try to, in essence, take the bullpen and that variable out of the equation altogether? Tell me why you lean to the first 5 over the full game, specifically when you're calling Yamamoto the stopper here for LA.
For me, we've been, ECSI launched January 1st, 2015. So we've been public for 10 years. And when it comes to run lines at home, you're only guaranteed 24 outs. The only time you get to the ninth inning is if you're tied or you're trailing. So you'll need a 2-3 run or a grand slam. So by going the first 5, we get our guaranteed 15 outs. And secondly, the number is placed on the starting matchups here. So I don't have to worry about the bridges. I don't have to worry about the closers. I don't have to worry about Dodgers leading 3-0 going to the ninth, and then they give up, a walk and a 2-run homer. So I am focused on Yamamoto here. I am focused on the fact that I am guaranteed the 15 outs here. I don't have to worry about the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, and it's a half run. Yes, if we're tied or losing, we lose, but as long as we're winning by 1 or more, we get the cash.
Look at what we have going. Oh my God! Again, we got another goal. It's Florida again. Are we going to get a series, Carolina?
Florida
Represent,
again.
Step up the Panthers. It's like they took whatever they were drinking in Toronto, brought it with them to Raleigh, and they are off and running. So much for the under in this game being, pseudo sweat free, right? I guess 2-0. Aaron Ekblad listed currently as unassisted, 7.5 minutes into the opening period. So 2 goals. 4 minutes apart, almost to the second, and the defending champs acting like the defending champs, boys, up 2-0. Jeff, how you feeling about Carolina right now?
I'm waiting for the Oakland A's to start. How's that?
I'll tell you what, though, +1.5, +125, +1.5, +125 for Carolina if you still have faith.
Well, they're a team that they play well at home, but they're not the greatest chasing team. That's the problem. Obviously, the biggest goal will be the third goal. You got to get it to 2-1, 3-0 lights out here. So maybe you get one late in the first period, or you regroup, get an early one in the second period. But obviously, Carolina needs that third goal here to make it 2-1 and stop the bleeding.
Evan Rodriguez got an assist on the play, the Ekblad goal. So that now has the Panthers at -480 favorites. They were dogs coming into this one. We are still late in the opening period. Jeff, thank you, sir.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too short of a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Our thanks once again to Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. Get him on Twitter at EC Sports Invest. We really bounced around, covered a little bit of everything, including, of course, some of the baseball games that are getting going here momentarily. But nothing but excitement in the world of the playoffs. Just what we expected coming into this show tonight. Again, Florida is up 2-0 in Carolina against the heavily favored Hurricanes in terms of the series anyway coming in. Defending champs, making it look easy so far. We're still late in the opening period. Those couple of goals, including a power play strike from Carter Verhaeghe. That total, which was 5.5 pregame, has jumped up to 6.5, and it is sitting -110 to the over, -120 to the under. The basketball game will be tipping off in a matter of moments as well. I say lay it with the Thunder. Dane here says take the points with the Timberwolves, and we will obviously be tracking that one as it moves along. They are underway. So perfect. Get invested, and let's all enjoy it together. Dubs Anderson's going to join us top of the hour. We'll talk more about the basketball, the hockey, baseball, you name it. We'll get into all of it. But Dane, what is your outlook on this hockey game as it exists right now? We were talking about it a little bit off air and how you would potentially approach it, not counting out Carolina just yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't count out Carolina just yet, and because I'm also going to get plus money. If I get the 1.5 with Carolina now, right, and even as Jess said, the next goal is the most important goal, right? Sometimes you got to do some of this on spec, and I really believe Florida's up 2-0 right now, but it's still the first period. There is a lot of game left here for Carolina, who were the favorites, who are at home. And I like them getting the goal and a half because that is at plus 122. And what I would say right now is if, and of course, this is, always a big if, and you don't make money sports investing by starting with the conditional of if, but if Carolina were to score the next goal in this game, all of a sudden, that would be a great look. So I am not mad at the plus 1.5, plus 122 here for Carolina, kind of coming on back on that. Because remember, we all thought, what did we think going into this, Adam? We thought this was going to be a tight game. We thought this was going to be a tight series. We thought this was going to be lower scoring. So I don't necessarily see Florida running away. This is not the Toronto Maple Leafs, for goodness sake, right? I think it is still going to be tight, and I actually believe the next goal will be scored by the Hurricanes, and then that plus 122 on the puck line will completely evaporate. So if I was going to do anything in this one, it would be taking Carolina with the puck line at plus 122. But remember, I've been looking for blueprints here in this one. Unfortunately, we did not get the scoreless first period like I was hoping for the live total.
Now, for those who did take Minnesota in this opener of the Western Conference Finals to cover the points, never mind maybe on the money line, but certainly the plus 7.5, if you got it there, as we talked about earlier in the show, this is an interesting opportunity here in terms of potentially chasing a middle, Dane, because Minnesota is out to an 8-1 start, not even 2 minutes into this game, and that live line has dropped to 3.5. And if you want to invest in the Thunder now, you're practically even money, minus 102. It was plus money just a matter of moments ago when it was 8-0. But obviously we got the free throw there. Now it's plus 110, bounced right back. So do you think enough of the Thunder to want to jump in now and look for a potential middle?
So I do, but 4 points of a middle, because remember, I got Minnesota plus the 7.5, right? Two things I'm going to say here. One, I love the fact that the 3.5 is at plus money, okay? When I also get a middle, Adam, I don't like having both of the bets as minus 110, minus 115, because then you can get bled out, right? So the idea that the plus, the 3.5 that you see now for OKC is at plus money is helpful, but 4 is not enough. I would like to see it more like 1.5, 2.5. I'm looking for 6 points to get a full middle. 4 is a little bit too small of a needle to thread, in my opinion. Now, OKC is probably going to make a run, but I just need a little bit more, or for this lead to happen a little bit deeper into the game. When I'm looking for a middle, I'm looking for slightly more than 4 points to be that middle. So we will see. But I do like the fact that you could have gotten it at plus money.
People may be wondering, how has this happened so far? Well, early on, and again, 2 minutes, but it's been the Jaden McDaniels show. Again, one of the role players for Minnesota. He is perfect, 2 for 2 shooting, has 5 points. One of those a three-pointer, obviously, and Anthony Edwards has chipped in a 3 on his only field goal attempt. So that's the 8-3 lead right now. SGA a free throw, and Hartenstein has himself a bucket as well. But This is how, and I'm not going to presume to know what happens in this game off an 8-3 advantage. What's now 3 minutes into the game, obviously. We know, we've said it, NBA's a game of runs. This thing, the Thunder could be down by 15 at halftime and still win this game by 10 points. So right now, everything is up in the air. But if you're Minnesota, this is what you're happy with. And I know I'm sort of cherry picking an example here with McDaniels and the quick 5 points, but Anthony Edwards, and I know like people have talked about all the heads he's got on his wall in terms of guys that he's knocked out, superior NBA players or high level NBA players that he's eliminated from the postseason each of the last couple of years in these back-to-back runs to the Western Conference Finals. But it has to be, if Minnesota is going to truly make this a series, maybe even steal this series, it has to be guys helping out Anthony Edwards. It can't be Ant by himself. And that, to me, is more than Julius Erving. It's Naz Reid, who you brought up. It's Jaden McDaniels. It's Dante DiVincenzo. It's these guys doing something. And so getting a quick 5 out of McDaniels is a nice, healthy start. Now it's 10-3 after another bucket for Anthony Edwards.
No, absolutely. And what did we talk about at the beginning of this hour? I think SGA and Edwards are going to show up. I think they're both going to drop 30 in this game, average something like that in the series. It is the role players. We talk about whether it's McDaniels, DiVincenzo, I think Naz Reid. That's where it's going to be. And on guys for Oklahoma City, it's going to be the Lou Dorts of the world, the Holmgrens of the world. Who else besides the superstars are going to be in there? And obviously the role players tend to play better at home. So let's see what happens. It is a great early start here, but the 3.5 is still now at just now even money. So it's something to consider again. But in my opinion, only do it if it is plus money for that, or we're going to wait to 2.5, 1.5, something like that.
Something noteworthy as well, Rudy Gobert, 2 minutes in, is out of this game. Naz Reid has checked in for him because Gobert has 2 quick fouls. So they are going to be managing him, obviously, as this game moves along. That's potentially big for Holmgren, for Hartenstein on the other side, and Reed Probst.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division, to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's 2-1 Florida. No, that feeds into what I was going to say. If you listened to us last night, if you listened to us earlier in the show, how many people were like, yeah, man, I like it. Under 5.5, game one, right. East? That sounds great. You idiots. You fools. I know. We are not looking smart right now. Maybe the scoring slows down, but 3 goals in the opening period as they hit the intermission. Carolina on the board. Sebastian Aho from Jarvis and Svechnikov, pardon me. And so, look, Dane outlined this perfectly for you before, saying that he believed that the next goal was going to come from Carolina, talked about investing on the puck line when it was sitting at plus money at right around plus 125 at plus 1.5 goals for the in this game. And right now, after that goal, just to update people on where things stand specifically, Dane, you are now seeing minus 180. That's a healthy bit of movement right there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we do it, and I did think Carolina was going to get the next goal. And so that's $1 right there, right? Going from plus 120 to minus 180. And that's how you have to do it. You always, the zigzag of it all, right, Adam? You always got to kind of think that these things will normalize in the same way we were talking the same thing about the Minnesota Timberwolves getting out to an early start. They're not going to go run away and hide and go wire to wire. And what do you know? OKC has tightened that one up. So that's the beauty of in-game live betting, especially in the NBA where it is a pendulum swing and a game of runs. But that's why I also look at the puck line when you have a 2-goal lead in the NHL, because that next goal, when it comes, it can dramatically change it. Now, let's see what happens with the next goal again. I guess, Adam, the thing I would ask you, I kind of think it will tighten up a little bit. Under 6.5, plus 154 in the hockey game here. What do you say about that? That's a nice little plus money. We all thought it was going to get tight. Do you really think just the floodgates continue to open, or does it get a little tighter here after the first intermission? I think plus 154 under 6.5 is worth a look.
No, I like the way you're reading it. And I wouldn't put a full unit on it, but I think it's worth a sprinkle, because nothing would surprise me at all when if you were to sit here and say, yeah, second period, all right, it's 2-1. Second period, though, we're going to go scoreless, or we're only going to see, 1 goal, whether it's Carolina to even it up or Florida to go up 3-1. And we're going to enter the third period with still 3 or sitting on 4 goals. And then all of a sudden you're not looking at nearly as favorable a number at that under 6.5. You're certainly not getting plus money on it. I absolutely think that is it within the cards of things that could play out. So yeah, I think, again, right around plus 150 to go under, saying we're not going to get more than 3 more goals over the course of the final 2 periods of this game, entirely plausible. I think it does tighten up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I would look at it as well. The only problem is if we get to 3-3 tie at any point, right, then we're definitely home free, because of the, we would obviously get to that 4-3 game. I think you're right. What we would need to have is the end of the second period be a 3-1 or a 2-2 kind of game. If there's only 1 goal in the second period, then I think we're cooking with something. But I'm with you. And first of all, plus 150, you can't scoff at that.
No, I'm entirely with you on that. As far as this NBA game, by the way, and they've hit a commercial break, halfway through the opening period quarter, it is Timberwolves 16, Thunder 11. So Minnesota is, doing what it intended to do, obviously, at this stage. Right now, you have got 7 points out of SGA. I think most notably, he's gone to the line already for 7 attempts. He's 5 out of 7. I'm sure he's, eating himself from the inside that he isn't perfect at the line, and this isn't a 3-point game, 1 possession game at the moment, but still 7 attempts already midway through the opening quarter. Hugely aggressive start out of SGA. On the other side, you got balance. 6 points for Julius Randle, who you talked about before, and not a guy the Thunder saw much of during the regular season. Only played in 1 of their 4 meetings. 5 points still for Jaden McDaniels, 5 for Anthony Edwards. Naz Reid has played 4 minutes, has a couple of rebounds, but has yet to attempt a shot.
Yeah, Minnesota is also 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. Meanwhile, OKC 0 for 2 from deep, right? Both of those could regress to the mean. Another reason, if you, like I know my good friend Adam is, still holding OKC, there is still reason for hope here. This is a hot start out of Minnesota, something we talked about, right, Adam, with the first quarter, first half bets. We're going 4 for 5 from beyond the arc. It's certainly a hot start.
We encouraged Philly's run line earlier, by the way. How about this? At the end of one inning, Philadelphia is up 3-0 in Colorado. So a few quick runs on the board for the Phillies, not making you wait like they did last night before erupting in the late innings. We'll be back. Dubs Anderson joins us top of the hour.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Halfway home, in-game live game day here on SportsGrid with Dane Martinez. I am Adam Kaufman. Again, Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals in the NHL. Florida, the defending champs, up 2-1 against the favored Hurricanes. Sitting at the first intermission, Carolina got one in the final 30 seconds of the period to cut the deficit in half. Meanwhile, back and forth we go. Game 1, Western Conference Finals in the NBA, because Oklahoma City, the overwhelming favorite to not only win this series, but the championship among the Final Four, is sitting now with the lead, up 17-16, about 3.5 minutes to go at home against Minnesota in the opening quarter. Of course, this is a team that had trailed 8-0 out of the gate and is now stormed back. We welcome in our good friend and SportsGrid personality, Dubs Anderson, on Twitter at Mr. Dubsy. Dubs, how are you, man? Enjoying the playoff action?
Happy Tuesday, gentlemen. Fantastic to catch up with you guys. Taking a bit of a pause in Taco Tuesday, but playoff action's the best kind of action. Ebbs and flows. And I think you guys hit the nail on the head before that last commercial timeout. It felt like the Timberwolves, this was their spot to make a really quick jump from the starting blocks. But now we're starting to see, I guess, a bit of regression, or the class, the creme de la creme, starting to rise up to the top there from OKC. I think that's the way this series is going to go. I think, Minnesota can maybe get lucky and pick up 2 games, but they're up against it. There's levels to this thing. I don't know if Minnesota are in a better spot than where we saw them at this point 12 months ago. For OKC, they're tested. I think they're up for the occasion. It's just a matter of how many points they can contain Anthony Edwards. But I thought there was some great betting looks coming into this game tonight, whether you like the sides, the totals. I thought there's some really intriguing player props, and I based mine off the back of the Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, trying to make a really fast start to this series, and played him for north of 30 points, grabbing plus 200. I think he's already got 6 to start here. So we're going to have to see a bit more production. Hopefully for the Timberwolves, they can just keep them at arm's distance. Maybe it pushes it towards the overs there, and this can hopefully come in play. But it's a game one. Thought we'd have a bit of fun with it.
Hey, Dubsy, I got to ask you, I know you're an LA guy, and I see you got the Dodgers on the card here tonight. They have not been doing well lately, so talk to me. Is it a play that you think Yamamoto can kind of stifle Arizona, or is it you just think, like, they're due these days?
I tell you what, it's a matter of how bad my week was last week. I had the cousin in town, so I go, you know what? We'll do it big. We'll go to the Dodgers game. We'll get some nice tickets. We'll get all the sweets, couple of sodas to go with it, and they got absolutely railroaded by not the Oakland A's, by the Athletics. We'll call them by the right name. And I'm like, what kind of Dodgers outfit is this? And then I've been playing them the last week. They've now lost 4 on the bounce, and I really do think this is a get-right spot. You look at the Diamondbacks, they're sending out Nelson. He's straight out of the bullpen. I think we can find a bit of separation early in this game, and we see the Dodgers that we're used to seeing. Chavez Ravine, it's a Tuesday night. Cover them on the run line, and I think the total, send it north of the overs there. They've usually been really good at Dodger Stadium unless I show up, unless I get the premium tickets and ruin my week last week. So I'll watch it from home tonight.
I wasn't watching from the stadium like you, but I was paying the price here at home as well, losing money on the Dodgers night after night in that series. It was ugly, my friend. We had Jeff Dawson on with us last hour, and we were talking about, just again, it's not exactly what we saw with the Dodgers and Athletics. The Athletics obviously are having a good season, but they weren't the only overwhelming favorite to be losing night after night over the weekend. We were seeing it from the Padres. We were seeing up and down play out of the Diamondbacks, so on and so forth. How comfortable are you attacking the worst teams in baseball? Philadelphia right now already up 3-0 in Colorado. The Mariners have not yet started because of a rain delay in Chicago against the White Sox, but that's another team people are hungry to back tonight. Do you want to keep laying it with these teams, just figuring more often than not it's going to pay off?
Look, I've got a betting black book where I put all of my valuable life lessons into, and it's got one in really big italics: stay away from bad teams and bad athletes because they're so inconsistent. You don't know what they're going to do. On any given night, sure, they can go off, but they're so less bankable than the big names. It doesn't matter if it's in the baseball or if it's a horse race, a big Preakness like we saw over the weekend. The bigger races, the better teams, the better athletes, they're more consistent, and you're more likely to know what you're going to get. Not that we have been seeing that with the Dodgers, but I think this is a really good spot for them to turn it around. So long story short, I love to stay away from the bad teams unless I get roped in like I did last week. But look, with the baseball, it's a long season, similar to it's going to be a long series in the NBA. Ebbs and flows, and it feels like some of these teams, even for the Dodgers, they can just get stuck in a bit of a funk. They need to turn the clubhouse around. I like tonight at home in LA. This is the spot. They're too classy. They've got Yamamoto out on the bump. I think he's set at 5.5 Ks. He's gone over that in 4 of his last 5. Can he get to 6 strikeouts? I don't know if he can tear through early and get it to 6 Ks, but it's more of what we can expect to see out of Nelson from the other side there with the Diamondbacks. And I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be much. Regression to a means the Dodgers bats, the Dodgers offense, I think they step up and provide that spark. If you like them on the money line, there's no value there whatsoever. If they win this game, they're going to cover the run line. So that's where I've taken them.
Hey, Dubsy, you're talking about the class. How about journalism poking through horses on Saturday at Pimlico, getting bounced around a bit, but still coming through as I think a 6-5 morning line favorite. Listen, I would be remiss, though, Dubs, if I did not ask you about the PGA Tour. We got the Charles Schwab Classic coming up this week. Who do you like to take that one down?
We're going to go with the Texas kid, the Texas boy, Jordan Spieth, who's playing some really good golf again. This is a fantastic field, but I just think it's a ballpark, it's a course where Spieth can find his best stuff. It's a bit of a home game, and you look at Jordan Spieth, he's a confidence player on the PGA Tour. When things are going bad, they're going real bad, and he's all up top between the ears. He's thinking golf swing, not golf. What we have seen out of Jordan Spieth over the last month is more confidence out there on the course. He's shot making, he's moving it both ways. When he's create creativity is on the course and it's shining. That's when he's at his best. It's a long track. It can usually play pretty tough, but I think Jordan Spieth at 22-1 plus 2,200, he could be just a little overlooked amongst a really strong field. Can Scotty Scheffler just win another one? Quite possibly, but it's like journalism winning that race. Dane, I can't play the chalk. I'm happy to be wrong in this spot. There's 150 horses teeing off here, Colonial Country Club for the Charles Schwab. I'm not going to take Scotty. It's such a short price. I'll take Jordan Spieth, who maybe he's not at that level, but I think he's trending back in the right direction. He's going to be very, very happy and comfortable with this return on Thursday.
The people who maybe have not looked at the FanDuel odds for the Charles Schwab, I can't remember the last time I saw something that looked like this. The outright obviously has Scheffler, like you said, at, may as well be even money by golf standards. He's plus 240. But then the next best, you are north of 20-1. 22-1 for Daniel Berger, 22-1 for Jordan Spieth, who you were talking about. There's no in between. There's nobody in the 10-1 range. There's no plus 650. It is Scheffler and everybody else. And it's just, that's obscene. I guess it opens up a lot of great value opportunities in terms of betting outrights, but that's still crazy, Dubs.
It really is. It's wild. We haven't seen that kind of number, that kind of price since Tiger Woods was in his prime. And if you like Scotty, if you think he's going to win this tournament, hold off. Wait until round 1, round 2 is in the books, where he's sitting a few shots back like we saw last week, and they didn't get him a plus 600, plus 700. And the rest of them, they see him coming, they fall apart.
On Twitter at Mr. Dubsy, Dubs Anderson, a personality here on SportsGrid. Great to see you, bud. Thanks for stopping by.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
First quarter in the books in Oklahoma City, and if you did jump on Minnesota plus 2.5 for the opening quarter, that is a winner and a fairly comfortable one because the Timberwolves are up 23-20 at the end of one. You noted, Dane, during the break, and I think it's a great observation, how the total has plummeted from what it was at tip. We were talking 219, 219.5, which have been bet up from around 213.5, 214 at open. And now on the live line, with again the Thunder trailing in this game, we see 205.5. Is this the time to invest in the over?
So not only would I say it's the time to invest in the over, I would look specifically at the Thunder team total. The Thunder team total right now is at 105.5, right? So I think, what did I say earlier on, right? I said that Minnesota was 4 or 5 from beyond the arc and OKC still hadn't done that. Those are the things that would regress back to the mean. So yes, I do think it would be the over, but I would even isolate the Thunder right now at 105.5. That would be the team total I would go over. I think that they will get hot. We talked about the kind of feeling out period. If you believe in the idea of the rust versus rest, this is going to start to normalize in the second quarter and in the second half in a number of ways. So yes, I believe the over would be the way to go, specifically on the Thunder side, Adam.
Thunder again down by 3. SGA, the future MVP, at least as I see it playing out, has 9 points. He is 5 for 7 from the free throw line, as we mentioned before. But this is, you talk about like the 3-pointers on either side, where Minnesota's 5 of 11 and OKC is 1 of 5, right? But another, divide here in terms of the way this game has been played, the way it's been called. OKC more aggressive, attacking the basket, 7 of 11 from the free throw line compared to 2 of 3 on the Timberwolves side. But I bring this up not just because of the considerable disparity, but because this takes me back to March Madness and screaming at my TV and getting angry at teenagers. You got to make your free throws. It's the postseason. 7 of 11, especially in a game that you are trailing, is just so blatantly offensive and unacceptable. The Thunder need to correct this. They need to correct it in a hurry. I like the way they're playing, continue to attack. They're still obviously favored to win, sitting 3.5 on the live line, north of 2-1 on the money line, but you need to hit your free throws. 5 of 7 is not good enough for SGA. Chet Holmgren can't go 0 for 2. These guys need to find a way. And another thing that bears watching anyway, Anthony Edwards, a little gimpy after a shot attempt came down funny on his ankle late in that opening quarter, about 20 seconds to play. He's sitting 2 of 3 for 7 points, has a couple of free throws, played the whole quarter, 12 minutes. But, we'll see if that is going to impact him going forward.
Yeah, that's the story to watch. I agree with you completely on the Oklahoma City shooting. That's part of the reason why I like their team total over. We talk about 1 of 5 from beyond the arc. Also, 6 of 17 from the floor overall, right? That's like 35%. And Adam, to your point, Anthony Edwards has gone to the locker room. Okay, I think that is very important. He is not only just gimpy, he is going back to the locker room. They're going to probably retape it up, see what goes on, but he is going to miss some time here. How would you play this in general? I mean, he's going to come back, right? It's not like he's going to be out for the game. He's gimpy. They would have to amputate him, for goodness sakes, for him to not actually be out there on the floor. But it makes me think, like, there's going to be a serious stretch of time here, at least in the second quarter, when Ant-Man is not going to be on the floor, right? I look at the second quarter spread, OKC minus 2.5. What do you think about something like that? Continuing to kind of ride this idea that Ant is at least going to miss some time here, even if it's just another tape job that's happening right now. Because this is definitely something to be watching. It was at least bad enough, Adam, for them to have him go to the back.
So we may be telling people 45 seconds from now, Anthony Edwards has returned to the game. It may be nothing, like you said. But if we're looking at it right now and just sort of playing the uncertainty of it, I'm looking at FanDuel and the live player props. Obviously, there's no Ant. It's not like you could jump in and play his under. They're smarter than that. He's not on the board. And to that point, Julius Randle, well, he was locked. He's unlocked now because he was at the free throw line. 22.5 is his line at the moment. We got another goal. We'll give you the update on that in just 1 second. Just to finish this point, Naz Reid, 8.5 points. He's 8.5 at minus 106 because he hasn't scored yet. If Ant is limited in this game, in any way, shape, or form, or heaven forbid doesn't return, obviously, I like the over on Naz Reid to get himself to 9-10 points here in this game. But yes, to give you the update, because the goal horn went, blasting in my ears and yours as well, probably. Florida is now up 3-1. 3-1. The Panthers are leading this game. The latest goal, AJ Greer, the forward, has put his team ahead, and that one only 4 minutes and change into period number 2. So I had said before at the intermission, wouldn't be surprised if we get, just one goal scored in this second period. That's a fast start. We'll see how that thing tracks. But at the moment, 3-1, the defending champs are up on Carolina. And as far as what that has done, Dane, here to the lines, just to pull that up very quickly, we have got Florida at -2.5, which is interesting. At plus money, obviously, which means Carolina plus 2.5, pretty juiced. -165, and that total has bumped up to 7.5. The under is -135.
Yeah, listen, I'm already in with Carolina plus on the puck line, right, at plus money. So I don't know if I'm touching this anymore. I got to hope that that's the only goal we see here. I like what you're talking about, Naz Reid, going back to the NBA game. The other guy that I would keep an eye on would be Dante DiVincenzo here. Okay, I think Dante right now I'm seeing plus money, plus 120, Adam, for Dante DiVincenzo over 2.5 threes in this game. He's got one already. And here's part of your narrative, right? You think Oklahoma City's going to come back. We think Oklahoma City's going to regress to the mean and do more scoring, probably even take a lead in this game. If that happens, I believe DiVincenzo will be heavily involved if Ant-Man is limited in any way, shape, or form. Minnesota does like to shoot from beyond the arc. I think DiVincenzo would be a guy to watch, especially if Ant-Man is compromised, if they're in comeback mode at some point in this game.
And he does already have a 3 DiVincenzo in this one. He's 1 of 5, which is notable because he's firing away in his 9 minutes. We'll be back.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Adam Dane back with you here. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you are checking this out across the many, many different ways, watch SportsGrid TV, be it on social media, the SportsGrid and SportsGrid TV Twitter accounts, or of course, on the app, the fast channels, wherever you're finding us, your television, your phone. There are so many different ways to stream. Or SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. We thank you for hanging out here with us, and we will have one more guest a little bit later on in the program, Cam Stewart, who of course is going to follow us for a couple hours, hanging out with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage. Always a good listen, and they will certainly be sweating out the end of the hockey game, the second half of this Thunder and Timberwolves game. No update of yet on Anthony Edwards. The last update we saw 8 minutes ago that he went back to the locker room as a result of that ankle, whether it is being taped up, whether it's, who knows? We don't want to speculate, obviously, but my general pattern, Dane, I don't know if you're the same way when I'm watching a lot of this stuff throughout the regular season, is, generally a guy who is fine, has to go back to the locker room for whatever reason, maybe it's just a bathroom break, but when you get those so-and-so had to go back to the locker room updates, if you get, like usually within 5 minutes, you're going to get a notification saying so-and-so's returned to the bench or so-and-so's returned to the game. You start to get into that like 10-minute range where we're sitting right now and there's still no update. That's a cause for concern, to where I think the next update is, and I hope I'm wrong about this, because even though I have OKC laying the points, I would like a game. I'd like to be entertained. There's, I'm starting to wonder if we're going to get Anthony Edwards questionable to return.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The other way I look at it, Adam, is the normal rotation for a guy like Anthony Edwards and most stars, right? They do sit for a couple of minutes at the beginning of the second quarter, right? And so at this point, you haven't really had him miss normal time, but we're now under 8 minutes left in the second quarter. This would be a time where they would be putting Edwards back in the game in a normal kind of rotation. So I do think we are on the precipice. I mean, we just went to commercial break right there in the game, right? I really do believe coming out of this break, you're going to get a sideline report or something like that with some kind of update. We are right now, to your point, you said 5 minutes, we're going into 10 minutes. I'm looking at the actual game time and what would be a normal kind of blow he would take on the bench anyway. We have started to hit the time. Let me ask you, would you now start to actually impact some of your live prop betting? Would you start to, I know they've taken the Edwards numbers down, right? Would you start to think about a Randall over points, the DiVincenzo's, the Nas Reeds? Would this be enough, in essence, Adam, for you to be like, this is something real, that kind of the pie is going to be split up differently than we would be assuming going into this game, enough to actually click submit?
Well, look, I'll start with this. As soon as when I did this the last time before the break, I looked at the odds and I gave you Julius Randle, who was plus money to the over 22.5 because he was sitting at 7 points. Well, guess what? He's got 13 now, and it's minus money, minus 112 over 26.5. So you've missed the number if you didn't invest on Julius Randle. I don't think I would do it now. I could be tempted. I get it. Like, it's not a huge difference. 25.5 as it stands now. It just came down a point. You're talking about him essentially doubling his total where he sits right now, which he is very live to do if we find out Anthony Edwards is not returning to this game. I think I'm staying away from that, though, at the moment. And I'm just thinking about the game on the whole. And looking at this thing where, at the moment, Minnesota's up 33-29. They're at a timeout, 7 minutes to go here in this second quarter, and you can invest in the Thunder, who again are trailing by 4 points, plus 108 to go to minus 5.5. Still a better number and at plus money than what it was pregame and the uncertainty of Ant. This for me, and I know you were on the Minnesota side coming in, obviously not accounting for an Anthony Edwards injury, but for me, who was already a Thunder believer, this to me might be the double down spot. I'm getting plus money at a better number, and there's a chance that Ant doesn't come back in this game in OKC. I'd feel pretty good.
Yeah, listen, I like what you're saying. I do believe, though, that still Minnesota, it's not like, Ant's been out for a while. I still think Minnesota can hang, because some of these other guys we've talked about, Randall is playing well. I believe in Naz Reid. I believe in DiVincenzo. So I understand what you're saying. And if you were already on the OKC side, this gives you kind of, this buoys you a little bit more. But I'm really looking at the Naz Reid and the Dante DiVincenzo 3 props as ones who are going to pick up the slack if and when we do not see Anthony Edwards. And we're back here now, 6.5 minutes left to go. We still have not seen Anthony Edwards come out of this locker room.
We just got an update. He has returned. That courtesy of Underdog NBA. Anthony Edwards is back. So, changes the narrative a little bit. We'll be back.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So Anthony Edwards with the ankle injury missed about 5-6 minutes, but he has returned to this game, has 7 points, his total on the open, the live player market, 22.5, Dane, and at plus money to the over. Now it's just dropped down to 21.5 at minus 128. That's intriguing. I still don't think I'd do it. I think it needs to get below 20 for me to jump in, but it's intriguing. Julius Randle, meanwhile, stay hot. I mean, goodness, 18 points. He was at 13
Adam,
a second ago. He's at 18
Adam,
now.
Julius Randle has just gone to the back.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Julius Randle has just gone to the back as well. They showed him in the tunnel, okay? They showed him in the tunnel kind of stretching something out. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV, but that is very interesting. Just when Ant came back, now it is Randle that has gone to the back. So we definitely have to keep an eye out on that. But one of the things we were talking about now, the live number went to 1.5. The live total is at 200, maybe 199.5. So it's definitely been a low scoring game, but I've got half an eye on this one because Randle was in the tunnel and it looked like he was stretching. I don't know what they're going to call it. But he's not on the bench right now. And to your point, Randall was smoking hot. He was hitting threes. He just hit a 30-footer, which is what gave the T-Wolves an 8-point lead a little bit earlier on. So we've got to keep an eye out on that. And Randall has been playing incredible so far in these playoffs. So that definitely bears watching.
Nuclear from 3 in this game, 5 of 6 from distance to lead to those 18 points. It's no wonder they've been happening fast and coming in bunches. Only 3 rebounds. Not that you expect him to have a double-double necessarily, but man, lighten up the score sheet. It would be a loss, obviously, if he has to miss any considerable time. Just checking out, looking for updates. I don't see anything coming across so far, so hopefully nothing significant, obviously, but 4-point game, 3:19 to go in the opening half. Obviously, if you played the under in this one, you're sitting pretty as things exist right now. But 200.5, down about 20 points from where this line closed. Meanwhile, you brought this up during the break. The Thunder, who are only down by 4, minus 1.5 at minus 125. I keep saying it, I realize, and maybe I'm just going to die on the vine here with my principles, but OKC minus 1.5, down by 4 at home, where Edwards is dinged up and maybe Randall too. I still like the Thunder to win this game, Dane.
So let me ask you something, because I see the 1.5. I understand what you're talking about. Earlier on when it was 3.5, I said I want to see something like 1.5. However, what I'm staring at right now, at least on FanDuel, is minus 1.5, minus 125. In this scenario right now, Adam, would you rather the minus 1.5 at minus 125 or almost minus 2.5 at like plus 105 right now at this moment in time?
Yeah. No, I think I'm still good laying the minus 1.5. I think I'm all right
at
with
minus
that.
125.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, or even, you could, just to play around here for a second, the money line, if you want to take the spread out of it, the money line, well, now it's just moved to minus 170. When I started to bring this up, it was minus 145. Right. But if I'm putting maybe the money line together, and SGA has 9 points, his live total's 28.5. You figure he's going to be a part of it, obviously, if the Thunder come back and win this game. How about this? SGA 25 plus points. Again, he has 9. Thunder money line, put those together, that's minus 108.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you more like, because you are clearly still believing in the Thunder, right? Instead of the minus 1.5 at the minus 140, which I'm seeing right now, what about trying to get it at plus money? What about laying 2.5, laying 3.5 even, or however much you would have to, to get it to be plus 105, plus 110, instead of having to play around with adding another leg to the parlay, almost like selling the point
I get
because you believe.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think, right now, and maybe it won't matter. Maybe OKC wins this game by 10 when all is said and done. But right now, I what we're seeing through almost a full half is that Minnesota, even missing Ant for a period of time, the Timberwolves just aren't going away. I mean, they're making things difficult on the Thunder right now. And so that has me weary about getting greedy when it comes to, tacking on extra points than I necessarily need to, and even sort of steering the other way and going to the money line and looking for something that's correlated. I mean, I don't see how, and look, I could be wrong about this, maybe Jalen Williams goes off again or something like that, but I just don't see how the Thunder win this game without SGA hitting for 25 points.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, you gotta, and I like what you're saying here, because we're also treating people. By the way, Randall is back on the bench. He is on the bench. He is not back in the game, but he is on the bench. I like what you're telling people in terms of also, you have a comprehensive narrative there, right? Like, if Oklahoma City is going to come back in this game, it is going to be because SGA leads them, right? So it's almost correlated in that way, in a way to get a little bit more value for your money. So I like the way you're doing it. I just think Minnesota's going to hang around. I just think, listen, and we also talked about it. Here's the other part of this, Adam. They split the season series 2-2, right? Like, OKC had one of the best record, had the best record in the NBA, but they were 500 against this team, So I do think Minnesota is going to be here for the duration. That's kind of even why when we had Edwards in the locker room. I just still think the team of Minnesota is going to hang. So right now, I love my 7.5, but to your point, maybe they just, go gangbusters in the third quarter. Remember when it used to be the Warriors in the third quarter would go absolutely nuts? Maybe that's what we're going to see from the Thunder as well. But I do fundamentally believe that especially Minnesota, the way they have been playing, the way they've gotten this experience, I think they are going to hang with OKC, not only tonight, but for the next week and a half.
Well, to be fair, like you said, the 2-2 regular season, but what I have not, I brought it up earlier, but what I have not brought up enough is Julius Randle only played in one of those 4 games. And if this Julius Randle that we're seeing tonight is a sign of things to come throughout the series, then yeah, I mean, maybe I have taken that for granted in my handicap of what this is going to look like. Because, I mean, this is not a fluky game. I mean, maybe 5 for 6 from 3 is a little fluky, but this is not a fluky performance in the sense that Randle was excellent in the previous series against the Warriors. I know I wasn't impressed with Golden State overall, kind of playing down to its competition. I thought it was a lesser series for Ant, especially when you consider there was no Steph on the other side. But Randle was incredible, taking advantage of the lack of size, lack of bigs for Golden State. Now, I guess I just sort of looked at this series and said, I'm not so sure he's going to have that same success when you have Hartenstein, when you have Holmgren on the other side, and he's going to have to, deal with the weeds a little bit. And, so far hasn't been a problem because he's just lived outside and he's making it rain from 3. And if he keeps doing that, yeah, I mean, you could get a Julius Randle series to where all of a sudden this thing does go longer than I personally would have projected it for. So a 7-point lead right now. Minnesota is
back at the free throw line. He's back, just hit 2 from the free throw line. So, no cause for concern on that one.
You are officially, for the first time, at a point in this game where you can invest in the Thunder on the money line at even money. Just to let people know. Depends on your level of conviction, obviously, but it's a 7-point game, about 90 seconds to go in the opening half. Low-scoring game. We've dipped below the 200 now, 198.5 on the live line. And, interesting situation that we have here for the, at this stage, inexperienced OKC team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's interesting. You find the line of demarcation where it has finally flipped, right? 7 points going into halftime. I know we're taking a break here, Adam. The other thing I'll say is we have now 5 minutes left to go in the second period, and there has only been that one goal so far in Florida, Carolina in the second period. We're still holding at 3-1 here now with about 5 left to go in the second period.
If, by the way, with the basketball game, full game, we'll see. But if you invested in the Timberwolves first quarter, you hit. Timberwolves first half, you're going to hit.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series where they rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too strong a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line. only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're back, IGL Game Day with Dane. I am Adam. Time to welcome in our final guest to the program. Joined us last night. He's typically in this time slot each and every night on In-Game Live Game Day because he follows this show with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage. None other than our good friend Cam Stewart, who, you know what? You're a man who likes to bet the dogs. You love your pooches. And at the moment, Florida, the defending champs, leading 3-1 in Carolina late in the second period, and the Timberwolves over in the NBA, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals in OKC, up nearing the half by 8 points, about 30 seconds to go in that one. So, day for the dogs right now, anyway.
Yeah, my girlfriend walked by and says, "You don't look too happy." I go, she goes, "Who do you got?" I go, "Carolina." She goes, "Why are you betting against Florida again?" I go, "Because I am. Because I don't like, because the Panthers." That's who I am. I'm that guy. I can't stop. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, Dane, I don't know if you guys have certain teams. It's like, you bet them out of spite, and then you go, "Why? Why don't I just ride them when they break my heart and kill all and take my money? Instead, I try to get them back and go betting on another team." But there's a lot of hockey left. I have Carolina plus 2.5. I advise people right now, listen, the Carolina Hurricanes are still in this game. We've seen this movie before. I got to give Florida all the credit in the world, though, guys. Like, this is a game you think Carolina desperate at home. You definitely want to win both games at home. Now you're fighting for your lives in this spot. And Florida's just a damn good hockey team. And let's call it out for what it is. Bobrovsky's been great. Ever since the first 2 games against the Maple Leafs, he's looked like one of the best goalies in the league. He's playing like that guy. But I will take 2.5. Basketball game, I'm happy where I stand. You know, Adam, Dane and I were very high on Minnesota going into this series, and I'm going to stick with the program. I love Oklahoma City. SGA, you know, a Canadian, a lot of guys, Dort's from Montreal, Gabe's backyard there, and there's a lot of guys we like on this team. But I also know Minnesota's a very scrappy bunch, and Oklahoma City will still have some growing pains. This is going to be a drag-them-out series, like knock them down, come back, 6-7 game heavyweight fight, like the Pacers. And Dane, you know this with the Knicks. Books don't give away money. And we look at that line and go, it's $1.55 for a reason. Indiana can hang. So it's one of those things. If you like dogs on the series prices, we can do that type of thing. But I'm on Minnesota on the money line tonight, and I'm going to stick with it. But I will take Carolina plus 2.5. Baseball, guys, we did pretty good with the Diamondbacks last night. We got bit, did well with Kansas City, got bit with the Oakland game. But I'll come back. I can't lay 70 cents with Oakland in this game, but how about a Dodgers-Oakland parlay to plus 138? That's what we'll do to turn it into plus money. I think the Dodgers respond after that loss to Arizona. And I think, Oakland, Sacramento, we'll call them the Athletics. I think the Athletics in the second part of that parlay.
Just the A's.
Yeah, we'll call them the A's. Whatever it is, that ballpark reeks. But I'll take plus 138 on the Dodger-A's parlay. That's what we'll do.
Hey, Cam, let me ask you. I mean, it is halftime now in the NBA game. I was with you on Minnesota, right? They have a 4-point lead, but SGA, 2 of 13 from the field. I got to get your north of the border perspective of that. Obviously, if I'm a Thunder fan, that's the silver lining, right? Like, SGA is not going to go 2 for 13. And the fact that after doing that, they're only down 4. There are still reasons to be optimistic if you're riding OKC in this one.
It's a great point, Dane, and that's the thing. It can't get any worse from a shooting perspective for SGA, but, you know, I think you could look at things both ways, right? And Adam brought up the point before we went on the air. If you like Oklahoma City, you get them at this number now. You don't have to lay anything. But we got Minnesota at 7.5 before the start of the game. So that point is we're already there. Do we want to go back with Oklahoma City? I don't really at this point, but I will say, yeah, if you're looking at SGA live, Dane, what's his live point total? What is it about?
So it's 20. I was going to bring this up. It's 27.5
That's
at minus 108.
That's a little bit rich.
No, but the reason, No, but the reason is because he's already got 11 points because he's hit 7 or 9 free throws, whatever it is. So he's 7, I think. So he still only needs 18 points to get there, which if you bank on him coming out and shooting the ball better and continues to attack and get to the free throw line, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I lean that way, Adam, but that's a little bit rich. You can't give me something a little bit smaller than that. These guys, like, that's the whole thing. And you guys know, like, I don't play as many props. It's like these guys from Harvard. Like, if you play props, like, you better be up at 3 o'clock in the morning with me. I know Gabe's doing that, and I'm watching Australian horse racing and banking on everything there because these guys are already looking at the overnight numbers going, I get 20 and a half instead of 22. These prop numbers are so damn sharp. You can't come to the party late. You're going to get burned, man. It's over before it even starts. Dane, you're a DFS guy, Martinez. You know that, right?
Yep.
Like any type of sport, like you got to be on this stuff. Like the early bird gets the worm, and for all sports. And I find, you're late on these guys and the popular players. You're going to get the worst of the number, and you're going to lose by the hook a lot of the time, and it's going to suck. But I think we can get there. Adam, with that, I don't like, it's a little bit high for my liking, but I would lean over. I'm sticking with Carolina in this hockey game at plus 2.5, especially with 40 cents of juice. On one side, it was 55. On my other one, it's 40. This hockey game is not over. If Carolina gets the next goal, they're in this game, but I got to give Florida all the credit in the world, guys. They look absolutely fantastic, and they're a hard team to beat. But Adam, and I wanted to say this too. Remember we talked about under-overs in the series and stuff? I look at things kind of game by game. The more I think about tomorrow's game, and I'm not going to be on with you guys till later, I like the under 6 in Edmonton and Dallas. I think it's going to be a 3-1 hockey game. I like under. I think Dallas is going to want to play a game. Edmonton has proven they can win 2-1 games. Dallas can play that way. I think a lot of people are going to jump on the over because they think the Oilers are going to be in a track meet. I think these teams can play defense. Both teams don't want to get into a track meet with each other. It's going to be a brutal, sock them out, hard-hitting series, maybe a 2-1 game, overtime, 3-1 empty netter. I like the under in the first game in Big D between Edmonton and Dallas, guys. Golf picks tomorrow, too. What do we got? The Charles Schwab Cup. Scotty Scheffler by 14 strokes. Anyway, they have a thing on right now.
Even money? Cam, is he like plus 220?
Listen to this one, Dane. Yeah. On my book, it's like Scheffler to win by 3 or more, plus 350. I'm like, and do I get a catered dinner and like a bottle of shit? What? I win by 3 or more strokes in the tournament, plus 350. I'm like, I can't even bet this guy anymore. He's like, wire to wire, 8-1. I'm like, what? It's just unbelievable. But hey, if you're going to fade him, do you fade him this week after a big win in a major, or does he just show up like a robot and instead of blood, put more Valvoline in his system and then just crush everybody again by 13 strokes? I don't know. All I know is I like Aaron Ryan Ginger at 35-1. Let's have a drink, fellas. More golf picks tomorrow.
He's one of my favorite people on the planet. Cam Stewart follows us on Sports Rage with Dave Morency coming up top of the hour.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Chiefs Chargers in Brazil on Friday on YouTube. They're going to give everyone that game for free. They're so generous because the rest of the season they're going to fleece you for all your money.
That's one, Scott. That division to me, based on what's happened to the Chiefs the last couple seasons, that division, the AFC West, could be up for grabs here. I know Chiefs fans think I'm probably out of my mind.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I actually like the fact that they went 7 games against a quality opponent here and still had to face adversity even in a game number 7. How are we setting up this next series with a rested Minnesota Timberwolves team taking on OKC fresh from the fight here?
They had an extremely, maybe it's just too short of a statement to say, easier pathway than people thought, particularly because of their size.
The early line. only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
What's up, everyone? Our thanks to all of our guests. Cam Stewart, we had Dubsy on with us, Dubs Anderson earlier in the program, Jeff Dawson as well. Also, want to make sure so we don't run out of time, thank all of our crew that made this show possible. A great collection of people behind the scenes between Matt, Robert, Chris, Patrick as well. So thanks to all of you guys. We're having a lot of fun here these couple hours, but we're almost done. Cam Stewart and Gabe Morency, Sports Rage takes over top of the hour here on SportsGrid. So make sure that you are locked in for that. SportsGrid TV, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159 as well. To update you on what is happening on the diamond right now, plenty of games still in progress. In fact, bottom 9, Astros, Rays, even at 2. Tampa is batting man on first, trying to walk this thing off. Top 9, Rangers down to their final at-bats and down to their final out, for that matter, with a runner on third, down 5-2 in the Bronx against the Yankees. They have scored a couple here in this inning to make things interesting. Orioles down 3-2 in Milwaukee at the end of 7, so still time for one of the worst teams in baseball to come on back against the Brewers. Mariners, White Sox got off to a late start due to rain. They are scoreless, middle third in the Windy City. Tigers holding on to a 5-4 lead in St. Louis against the Cardinals. Just broke that tie to take a lead, man on second, top 9 right now with 1 down. Phillies 3-1 advantage in Colorado, but the Rockies are batting with 1 run in and a man on second, nobody down, bottom 4, so we'll monitor that. Royals, Giants just underway and scoreless, bottom of the first inning. Some late night baseball on the way as well. Angels, Athletics. We've talked about the overs in Sacramento, and a lot of Dodgers love at home against the Diamondbacks tonight. That game gets started coming up in about 15 minutes. And Dane, obviously, in this hockey game, now it played out the way that we wanted it to.
Yes.
3-1 Florida in Carolina, just the 1 second period goal that came from the defending champs. And so through 40 minutes, 4 goals, you're under 6.5 is now all of a sudden, after the 3-goal first, looking very live.
Yeah, absolutely. When we told everybody going under the 6.5, it was at plus 150. Now that same bet is heavily juiced to minus 150. That's why you always got to do what you think is not happening, go the other way. What I want to ask you, Adam, is listen, what we have seen in this basketball game, Oklahoma City down by 4 at halftime, definitely a lower scoring game than we thought. The total is now under 200. How confident are you that OKC comes back? I mean, the shooting from SGA, you can either take as, it's not his night, or optimism that it regresses positively back to the mean. He has been getting to the free throw line. The volume is there. What do you think about the SGA points prop and the Thunder overall here in the second half?
So the Thunder have gone from even money to come back and win to right around minus 160, 170. They're 2.5-point favorites again. On SGA, I just saw this come across my screen, Underdog NBA Twitter account. SGA first halves with 2 or fewer makes on 13-plus shots. It has happened only twice in his entire career. Tonight against the Wolves and February 13th against the Wolves.
Minnesota.
So obviously Minnesota has been a problem for him when it comes to this type of thing. Now, I'd have to pull up the box score from that February 13th game. Maybe I could do that quick and see how he responded in the second half of that game. But look, I clearly still like the Thunder. In fact, I think Cam, and you guys outlined it well. The fact that Oklahoma City at home is only down by 4 in a game that SGA offensively has not nearly fit the bill and is shooting woefully to start off this game, it gives me even more confidence, because I just don't think that holds for an entire contest for the guy who, again, I expect and most expect to win the most valuable player in the NBA this year. So going back to February 13th, He, in a 15-point loss to the Timberwolves, wound up with 24 points in that game, flirted with a triple-double, as a matter of fact, had 9 assists, 8 rebounds. The free throws, he was 11 for 11 in that game. He's already hit 7 free throws here in this contest. Wound up shooting 6 of 21 in that contest overall, by the way, about 29%. I don't know that I want to or feel the need to go after the over 27.5 points, but I still do feel good about the Thunder, Dane.
Yeah, listen, like you said, I also think there's definitely a run left in the Thunder. And when you're only down 4 with SGA as 2 of 11 or whatever it is, I think the free throw shooting is there. Rudy Gobert, though, still only with the 2 fouls. So that kind of changes the dynamic there as well. Remember, he had the 2 fouls early. He was clean the rest of the first half.
So, been a really fun couple of nights here, talking with you here, hanging out 4 hours over the last 2 nights. We don't do it nearly enough. So this has been a blast, man. I am going to be back on the show tomorrow. Scott Wetzel is going to be back in his seat. Make sure you tune in, 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Again, thanks to our guests, to the crew. Dane, absolute pleasure, my man.